Yahawah, I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawah Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Shabai of the GMS Denver camp, and I'm going to go in on 1 Maccabees 2. And this is going on with the Maccabee brothers, who were the leaders of a revolt, who basically the last line of defense when our people were being persecuted in our own land, of Jerusalem. When the heathen went in, the Edomites went in and, took over the temple in pride and doing all kinds of wicked shit in our, polluting our tabernacle. All right. This is one of the reasons why they took the Apocrypha out, is because, like I always say, the Apocrypha has the dirt of the Edomites. It has all their dirt in there. It name drops, and that's a big reason why they took the Apocrypha out of the scripture. So anyway, I'm gonna read 1 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter, and move with the Spirit. It says, "In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jorib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin." And Modin is a city in Judea, when you look it up. It says, "And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Cadiz, Simon, called Thasi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Evron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphus. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell therein when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers." And who were those strangers? And when you go into this word stranger, it would be nakar, not gar, because this is the strangers of the heathen. This was not our own people. This was the Edomites specifically, who went in and polluted and defiled our temple in Jerusalem. And when you go into it, let's go to this verse right here, 1 Maccabees 6:2. It shows you, this is 2 Maccabees 6:2. Let me see. It shows you that these devils, they're still doing it, right? They go into they set up these false churches. They take our Bible and they defile the church. They lie, they teach lies, they teach nothing but bullshit, madness that they put on our people, right? 2 Maccabees 6:2, it says, "And to pollute," let's start at 1. "Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens," which Athens is a place in Greece, "to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of Yahawah." You see what I'm saying? These wicked ass Edomites, and that's what they do today. They're still doing this. That's why you Israelites got to wake up, man. And if you're of the elect, you are going to wake up. You're going to understand that the whole cracker Jesus thing, that's nothing but an idol worship. It's a lie. That you're departing from the laws of the fathers when you're worshiping cracker Jesus. And you know how many stupid ass Israelites I come across daily who are like still rocking Jesus t-shirts. They're still calling on the name cracker Jesus. It's it's 2026. You see what's going on with the Iran and Babylon, aka the United States. You see what's happening, and you still see our people involved in idolatry. You know, that's why we know only the elect can see this truth. Only the elect are going to wake up. It says, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it in the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. See, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but what the point is, Jupiter is the Roman equivalent to Zeus. Okay, let me see. Pretty sure Jupiter is, yeah. So Jupiter, that's the Romans' version of Zeus. So these devils, they went into our temple and they set up statues and idols dedicated to Jupiter. When you go into Jupiter again, that's Zeus. Okay. And Zeus goes into the word Dios, or like in Spanish is Dios, which means God. So Zeus, it goes back to Dios. So Deus, which in Greek, that's how you say God is Dios. Deus. Or it might be Latin. It might be, actually, let me see. Yeah, Greek. In Latin is Dios. D-I-O-S. But in Greek, it's D-E-U-S. And so they basically just put the Z there. And so, they played with the word. And the Dios is D-I-O-S. Deus is in Greek for God. And then they made it Zeus. And then also Jesus. Those are all similar, right? You see how basically it's like a slowly they progressed the word Dios, D-E-U-S, which actually was D-I-O-S. That's Spanish and in Latin for God, all the way to Zeus, to Jesus. They're all similar. But the thing is our people are still stuck on stupid. And, the Maccabee brothers, listen, they were in the right mindset. And they were like, yo, why was I born to see the misery of my own people? That's what he quoted, right, in 1 Maccabees 1. And that's why our people are going to get fucked up in this war. The 2/3 of Israel, the majority of our people are going to get destroyed. That's why he said, woe is me, woe is me. Right? Let's see. Verse 7, it says, he said, woe is me, wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Okay? So that's what the Maccabees looked at as the temple, and they likened it to a man without glory, which is like a man without beauty, right? Like a warrior. Usually you see a warrior just emerging from the horizon, walking towards you back in the day, and they'd be like, "Dang, look, that's a glorious sight! A warrior of our own people after we had just won a battle or whatever." And you see that, and it's like, that's a beautiful thing. And this is, he's comparing this to a warrior, like a man without glory. And that's what you 2/3 are. You're a temple without any glory. There's no beauty in seeing our people worship gods that our fathers never knew, right? And that's a prophecy. That's a prophecy that's come to pass. It's been come to pass over and over throughout history. All right, let me grab, it's in Deuteronomy 28. Let's see. Whoo! See, the Spirit took me right to it. Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, "And Yahawah shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even to the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." All right. When we go into the breakdown of that verse, wood and stone, wood representing false Christianity, stone representing like the what's that black stone that the Islam, Nation of Islam, and the Muslims. The black stone is what they call it, right? So anyway, go research that on your own. The wood being that wooden cross in pagan Christianity. Because there's a thing which we always talk about it, pagan Christianity dealing with the false Christians. All right? There are, because really the true Christians are the elect, the Hamashiachs. All right? We worship Yahawah Shai Hamashiach and Yahawah his father, but I'm sorry, Christian, that's not how you say Hamashiach's not how you say Christian, but that's anointed. But the thing is our people are worshiping this wood and this stone, you see. So let's go back to 1 Maccabees 2. Says, "Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity." And those are the men and the women. "Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of thy enemy." You see? And that's still happening here in Babylon. Look at how many times you see the modern day Roman soldier, which are these police, killing the so-called black man and so-called Hispanic man, so-called Latino man, so-called Native American, the Northern Kingdom. We're getting killed in the streets, man. Look what ICE is doing to the Northern Kingdom right now, predominantly Northern Kingdom. Pretty soon it's going to be open season on all you Israelites. Verse 10, "What nation hath not a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?" See, all the heathen nations have basically devoured us, like it tells you in 2nd Ezra. Let's grab that real quick. 2nd Ezra, is it 2 or 6? I always get it. I think it's 6. No, let's see. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 6 and 57. "And now, O Yahawah B'Hashem Yahushai, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing," because the heathen are nothing to the Most High, "have begun to be lords over us and to devour us." You see? "But we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn," talking about Israelites, "thy only begotten and thy fervent lover are given into their hands." You see? So our people are given into the hands of the heathen. That's why the so-called white man is ruling over you right now, because the Most High has given him rulership over us as a punishment. And we've been in subjection to the heathen throughout history, basically, long history, because the last time we really truly had dominion was when King Solomon was ruling. That's the last time you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans were in dominion on the planet Earth, had a rulership over the heathen. It was the opposite of what it is now. 1 Maccabees 2. Where am I at? Okay. "All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bond slave." Right. You're a slave. You're a slave here in Babylon. Just like prophecy said you would be. We have gone into captivity, and we've been in captivity over and over and over under the heathen. And we always tell you, we remind you, the heathen are all the people outside of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? "And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer?" Then Mattathias his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. So the thing is only the elect are going to be open, or our eyes are going to be open and realize like, whoa, we are in captivity. We've been in captivity. We're under the heathen. We're not in a good state. Our people don't have anything. Our people don't own anything. And if you do think you own something, you gotta, like the house, for example. You say you own a house, but yet you gotta pay a mortgage every month. And at the end of the day, you miss one payment. Well, I mean, you miss a few payments, and the heathen are gonna take the roof over your head. They're gonna take it from you. So you really don't own anything, And there's other ways they can take it from you. The system is set up for us to fail. And sorry, my speech is a little off because I sneezed at work the other day, and I was trying to avoid sneezing while leaving a voice message on a business voice message. And so I tried to avoid it, and I accidentally just bit my tongue. I should have just sneezed, and I tried to avoid it and ended up biting my tongue. So I'm still in a little pain from that. But anyway. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and a great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. All right, so let's get to, let me see where I'm at, 18. Now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. So they're trying to basically, bribe them. Come be a heathen. Come act like the heathen. Come do the things of the heathen. Forget about your laws, And see, that's the thing right now. You have our people are making covenants. They done had covenants with the heathen, agreements. As a matter of fact, they don't even understand that they're in a heathen mindset. Our people don't understand they're in a heathen mindset. They're not in an Israelite, a righteous, they call themselves Christians, some of them, and they're so far from, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Because they're acting like heathen, even in the state of so-called worship, that they think they're worshiping, but they're in strong delusion, like it tells you in Thessalonians. They have strong delusion, and they don't understand and realize that they're committing idolatry. And our people are heathen, majority of them. You go to the workplace. If you're in this truth, you're not supposed to eat pork, but you go to the workplace, and you see Israelites. Every job I've ever had since I've been in this truth, we bought pizza. Oh, guess what? What's the pizza got on it? Fucking pork, sausage, pepperoni, and who's eating it up? Our people, right along with the heathen. All right? So you got to wake up to this truth. Otherwise, you're going to be acting like a heathen unknowingly. You see? Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. See, and this is the spirit of the elect. We're like, no, we're not going to take a vaccination. No, we're not going to take our MOTB when they offer you that, which is the mark of the beast, right? The RFIDCHIP. We're not going to take that. Because why? Because we're walking in the spirit of our forefathers. Okay? The covenant of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushua. We're not going to, the sincere Israelites, who are also known as the elect, are not going to be in a heathen mindset. We're not going to be acting like heathen. When if you're a so-called Black, Latino, or Native American, and during the time of 2020 when they had the pandemic going on, and you took that jump shot on your shoulder, guess what? You're walking like the way of a heathen. You're a heathen. That's why your immune system is breaking down now. They didn't tell you that was going to happen, but you trusted the enemy. Verse 21, Most High forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. What does the majority of our people say? They're in that stupid-ass heathen mindset. Oh, when Jesus came, he took away the laws. There's no more laws. We don't have to keep the laws. That's what all you fucking pagan Christians and a lot of our people are in pagan Christianity. Like it or not, a lot of our people make up that pagan Christian church. See? And what do y'all say? Oh, we don't need to keep the laws. Well, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Trust me. 22. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left. And when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. You see that? And that's what you Israelites, you so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, you are moving according to Esau Edom. He's your king. He's your daddy. You're moving to his commandment instead of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai's commandment. And for that reason, you're going to be greatly destroyed. You're going to suffer. Everyone's going to suffer in Jacob's trouble. But you're going to be destroyed if you're not of the elect. Okay? And if you're over here walking as a heathen, like you remember that song, Walk Like an Egyptian? Well, you're walking like the modern day Egyptian. The spiritual Egyptian, which is the American Babylonian. Okay? You're gonna hearken to the king's commandment. Who's your king? Donald J. Trump. Who's the king of the elect? Yahawah Shai. Okay? Who's the king? Who's in first order? Yahawah. Then Yahawah Shai. Okay? Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, which means passion, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So Mattathias, he was the Spirit of the Lord jumped on him to the point where he went and slaughtered the dude that was making a sacrifice. And remember, they were using our altars. They were in Modin, which is a place in Judea. Okay, you just that'd be like, you right now you don't eat no pork because you're keeping the Lord's commandments, and all of a sudden some fucking heathen comes in your house and fucking throws a pig roast in your fucking oven. What would you do? Would you be in the spirit of Mattathias? And see, and these were more manly men than they are nowadays. The Maccabees actually won battles just based on their manliness alone, you see. But now you got a bunch of soft-ass Israel, emotional mama's boys in the nation of Israel, the 2/3. Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. You see, he was a gangster. Mattathias wasn't playing. And his sons, the Maccabees were all a bunch of gangsters. There was like a gangster family, Jakes. Thus dealt he zealously gangster towards, when I say gangster, I'm talking about gangster in righteousness. Gangsters with the spirit of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai on them. Okay? I'm not talking about these type of gangsters nowadays. That's a bunch of wickedness now. But these men were keeping, they were like the last line basically of defense, the last line. They were the revolt in the Greek captivity when the Greeks started, basically locking down our cities and our towns. Okay, Jerusalem, Judea, Israel. The Edomites, they because of Yahawah, allowed them to do that because we turned our backs on Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai. And now we're living in a time where the elect we're no longer turning our backs from Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai. We're coming back into our right mindset, like it tells you in Malachi, the 4th chapter, the last 2 verses. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahawah, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers, and heart is mind. So he put us in our right mindset. He turned our minds to the truth, right? Elijah, who became in the same spirit, in the reincarnation, the regeneration. Elijah became John the Baptist, and then John the Baptist became Elder Abba Bivens, who was the first Israelite to teach the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in Babylon, America, that we are the chosen people. We are the Israelites. That's why we know this truth, is because of Elijah, because of John the Baptist, because of, see, the phone chimed on that, because of Elder Abba Bivens. All those men were the same spirit, the same soul, regenerated, reincarnated, to bring us this message, to put us in a right mindset. Verse 6, and he shall turn the mind or the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So if it wasn't for Elijah, John the Baptist, and Elder Abba Bivens, we would still be walking around not knowing who we are. We'd still be walking around in a pagan Christian church, which the majority of you still are, because you don't believe in this truth. You don't have the spirit to receive truths like I just mentioned. You don't even, some of y'all don't even believe in reincarnation, because your daddy, the devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, he never taught you regeneration, reincarnation. So guess what? You don't believe in it. And again, for that lack of faith, you're going to be destroyed. And it's going to be at the hands of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai, one way or another. He's got many ways to put you 2/3 to death. Okay? First Maccabees 2. And where am I at? I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's like 70 verses. And I've been busy lately, but call all Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai for keeping me busy. All right, let me see. Where am I at? Verse 12, and behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. And this is talking about the Gentiles of the heathen. Not because the Bible, you have to understand, you have to have a spirit of discernment. Sometimes the Gentiles is referring to the Gentiles of Israel, and other times it's referring to the Gentiles of the heathen. Okay? And you have to understand it and discern it through the Spirit. If you can't do that, it's all good. You're probably not the elect. Or you're not the elect if you can't do that. I'll just cut and dry. Verse 13, to what end therefore shall we live any longer? Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. See, so they were in a state of mourning. They weren't in a state of joy or mirth or happiness. They were sad, happy, mad, angry. All those emotions came to them because why? They had the truth. They knew the truth. They knew that those were heathen in our temple, right? Just like the elect right now in this day and age, we know that the heathen got their gods set up and their idols set up in the church, which these are their churches, right? But still the same idea. You have all these fucking false pagan Christian doctrines spewing out madness, teaching our people lies, But the elect understand it. We see it. We were like, damn, I ain't going to that church. I taught my cousin in the flesh. His name's Joshua. I taught him the truth. He knows the truth. He sounded like he was interested, and he was like, maybe I was like, maybe Josh is one of the elect. And guess what he did? He goes and gets shacked up with some woman, some cracker Jesus loving woman, and now his mind's he's already forgotten about what I taught him. And right, it's probably because people like that are not of the elect. Because if you're the elect, you're not going to be letting no woman take you to a false doctrine and walk you right into the graveyard. You know? It's fucking stupid. See? But that's the spirit of our people. That's the spirit of the 2/3. They reject knowledge, right? Hosea 4 and 6. Let's get it. You try to give them a blessing, and they curse themselves. You see? When you, and again, and maybe I misphrased that, because you can't give blessings. It's only the increase comes from Yahawah B'Hashem Yoshai, right? My people are Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, Yahawah. I will also forget thy children. So the Most High Yahawah B'Hashem Yoshai is going to forget you and your children, because he set up his prophets to teach you. He has his men who are in a right mindset now, right? Because of Elder Abba Bivens did. He put us in a right mindset. Right, we're in a right mental state, and you reject it. You reject the prophets all the day long, right? So we can teach it, but it's the Most High that's going to give the increase, right? Let's get that verse. 1 Corinthians. And then with the 2/3, they're not going to be increased. When you teach them the truth, they're going to be like those wicked men of Israel who make covenants, make agreements with the heathen, and say, all right, yeah, we're going to forget our true power and his laws and his statutes and commandments, and we're just going to move like a heathen from now on. You know, we're going to eat pork, we're going to commit adultery, we're going to, do all kind of abominations. And they expect Yahawah B'Hashem Yoshai to turn the other cheek. They see, and that's another thing that the pagan Christian church lied to you about, is they make it seem like God is love, all love, 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 love. Right? I was working with Elam, an Elamite, and he had a sign, because even the Elamites are pagan Christians. The whole world is deceived, right, by the Elamite. But anyway, the Elamite, he had a sign in his store that said, God is love. He didn't say God. His sign should have said, God is love and hate, because there's the Heavenly Father he's a power of duality. He's a power of love and hate. And the pagan Christians don't understand that. They don't know that. And our people who are in that pagan Christian church, again, you're going to get destroyed for your lack of faith, you have a zeal, but not according to knowledge, as it tells you in Romans 10 and 2. So this is 1 Corinthians 3 and 6. It says, I have planted, Apollos watered, but Yahawah, the Most High, gave the increase. See, so we can plant the seed. We can teach you a little something. We can tell you we can tell you you're an Israelite. We can tell you that the so-called white man is the Edomite, he's the enemy. But if you're not of the elect, guess what? The Most High, he's not going to increase you. It says in verse 7, so neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but the Most High that giveth the increase. Okay? So it's the Most High that, he's the only one who's going to, he can put a prophet, he can put one of his true servants in front of you and give you some, true knowledge, give you some truth. But if you're not of the elect, you're not going to increase. You're going to do what my cousin did. Learn that you're an Israelite. Learn that you're the greatest people on the planet Earth. Learn that we're the salt of the earth. And then turn around and go worship a cracker Jesus just because of some pussy. All right? Excuse my French. But that's what it is, man. And it's everything spiritual. It wasn't like I sat down and said, you know what, I'm gonna pick on my cousin Josh today. No, it's the Spirit. Those words are uttered because the Spirit whatever I read triggered me to think about that occasion. All right? So that's what the prophets do. We move in the Spirit. Everything is spiritual. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close out on that. I want to give all the praise, I hope this lesson was edifying, but I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. I also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.